Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dora.
Yes, Dora.
Yes, Dora.
I can hear you loud and clear. This is Javier.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to pick up the volume here. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you.
It's very low.
Thank you. Dora, is everybody in?
Looks like everybody's in.
Okay. Mark the time, 6:04. Let's go ahead and bring the community services meeting to order. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Can we have a roll call to determine quorum, please?
Chair Manny Martinez,
Present?
Counselor Dennis Team Salazar,
Present.
Counselor Dorothy Valdez,
Present.
Counselor Dorothy Valdez, Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the agenda in front of you. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Let's have a roll call vote, please. Dora, can we get a roll call vote, please, to approve the agenda?
Okay, Counselor Dennis Team Salazar,
I'm for the motion.
Counselor Dorothy Valdez,
In favor.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor?
Okay, that's, motion passes. Let's go ahead and move on to public comments. Do we have anyone signed up for public comments?
none at this time.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to committee member comment. Oh, I'm sorry. For approval of the committee services meeting minutes for community services committee meeting minutes for July 20th, 2020.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the July 20th meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Do we have any questions, any comments? Okay, with that, let's go ahead and get a roll call vote for approval of the community services minutes for July 20th, 2020.
Mr. Chair, just to let you know that we have an echo on this end.
10-4, I mean, yes, I'm getting that also on my end as well. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
We're gonna have to take this a little slower, I think, in the meantime.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second for approval of the Community Services Committee meeting minutes for July 20th, 2020. Can we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Dennis Team Salazar,
For the motion.
Counselor Dorothy Valdez,
In favor.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor.
Motion passes. We will move on to committee member comments. Motion passes. We will move on to committee member comments. Do we have any comments from any of the members?
none at this time.
Okay. As far as matters from the chair, I just want to thank the staff for all that they're doing, especially during this time. I have been asked some questions pertaining to the library, is if it is open as far as utilizing the computers, or is it closed to the public still at this time?
Good evening, this is Sherry Aragon. Currently, we are open and we have computers available, and we also have the availability to check out books.
Okay, do people have to call in and make like a reservation to use a computer, or can they just walk in and you'll let them know if one's available?
Yeah, they can just walk in right now. We have 17 computers, but we're only using 6 right now just to keep the social distancing available for everybody. But they can come in and we just have them get on the computer. But the only thing is that we only have them use it for half an hour right now.
Okay, thank you. I will relay that message.
You're welcome.
We're going to move on to recommendations, items to full council. The first one, the consideration to approve a 9-month September 2020 to May 2021 Child and Adult Care Food Program, the CACFP contract agreement between the City of Espanola, Beatriz Martinez Senior Center, and the Family Learning Center to provide 2 meals a day, Monday through Friday, for 35 children. Ms. Dora Terrazas and Scott Frost, and Ms. Kathy Berryhill.
Dora, you want me to start?
Okay, so we have just a renewal of the Family Learning Center contract. Chair, members of the council, I would like at this time as well to welcome our new community service director who's going to be here along with me, Mr. It'll be Mr. Scott Frost. And with us, I don't see her online yet, is Kathy Berryhill, who is the director of the Family Learning Center.
I'm here. Dora,
So the,
can you hear me?
I can hear you, Ms. Berryhill. This is Counselor Peggy.
Okay, thank you.
Please go right ahead with the presentation.
so it looks like we have Kathy on the line as well.
Yes,
I will leave the floor to Kathy Berryhill.
thank you, Dora. If you can hear me, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, this is Kathy Berryhill, and I have been the director at Family Learning Center, and we are asking to renew our agreement with the City of Espanola to provide meals for Family Learning Center. This is our 3rd year, and we have been very, very pleased and happy with the services that that are allowed to us through the Senior Citizen Center. Everyone is very helpful, very kind, As a matter of fact, we are also have used the building for our Christmas program, and we have enjoyed being with, we have enjoyed some activities that we engage in with the senior citizens. So it's been a real win-win situation, and we just consider that our partnership with Espanola City has been just real positive. We hope that we've also made a contribution to the Senior Citizen Center, and we ask that you would extend the contract for another year.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved, Chair, for purpose of discussion.
Second.
Go right ahead, Councilor Martinez.
So we're still, it's still the same contract that was the prior last year, the same exact contract, Ms. Terrazas? $5 a day per student, 35 kids.
Counselor Peggy Sue, yes, it's the same contract that we had. The only difference this year will be that we will have to pack individual lunches and breakfast. Unlike last year and the year before that, we were serving the bulk of the lunches, and the staff at the Family Learning Center was actually distributing the food out of the bundles that we would send them. This year, we are going to have to do individual lunches. That's the
Do
only
we have,
difference.
thank you. Do we have the little machine to seal those properly and everything to get them to them individually?
I'm sorry, I could barely hear you. What was that again?
Do we have the machine that seals them properly for individual servings?
No, ma'am, we don't. What we'll do is kind of like the lunches that we are sending out now as the curbside. We will be packing them individually on the either styrofoam or plastic that we use.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. This is Counselor Valdez. Hello?
Yes.
Has the Family Learning Center opened for this year already, or due to the pandemic, it still has not?
No, they will. They're open, but for the summer they get the summer program to do their lunches. So we're not serving them any lunches right now. When we'll start is when they open up for the school, which will be September 2nd.
What is the enrollment at Family Learning Center?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What is the enrollment at Family Learning Center?
Kathy, are you there?
Yes, we have, we're licensed for 35. We don't know what it's gonna look like this fall because parents are still, parents still have a choice. But we're going for it. We can open up, but the licensing has said that we can open. We were open this summer, and so we're gonna work it. We're gonna see how far we get down the line.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, do you have any questions, sir?
Mr. Chair, not at this time. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Berryhill. We have a motion to approve and a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Counselor Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Counselor Dorothy Valdez,
In favor of the motion.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor of the motion.
Okay, the motion passes. This will be going to the full council. Will we be seeing this on the next agenda for the city council?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to item request for co-sponsorship from the city of Espanola and the Downtown Action Team of Espanola, December 12th, 2020, for the 25th Annual Electric Light Parade, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we'll have Ms. Dora Terrazas one more time, with also Christine Bustos, President of the Downtown Action Team.
Mr. Chair and members of the council, at this time, I would like to give the floor to Ms. Christine Bustos.
Hi, members of the committee, Mr. Chairman. Somebody muted me. Okay. All right. Can you hear me now?
I
Yes.
can't.
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, great. As in the letter that I posted here that you received, on July 28th, we had a preliminary meeting with Dora, who was then the acting community service director, with the streets director, Mr. Elijah Mares, and with police chief Roger Jimenez, to discuss if it was possible and feasible to have some kind of Christmas celebration with the light parade. I had it in my mind that maybe we could, block off the road as we usually do and park the floats on one side, let's say the southbound lane, and have people go on the northbound lane in their cars to view the floats. Because as you know, the way things are going right now, of course, all crowds gathering is not feasible, and it doesn't look like it's going to be let up anytime soon. So after discussing with the three people that we talked to, we came up with an idea that maybe would work a little better, is that instead of using the state highway, we would use private properties around the city to place floats, and then we can have people kind of like the Christmas lighting contest or whatever. We'll put out a map and tell people where the floats will be situated, and they can come by in their cars with their families. They don't exit the cars, but they can drive by and view the floats. Let's say we put maybe 5 floats on the drive through the college. Maybe we put, 3 or 4 floats at the plaza. Maybe we can put 2 or 3 at the Hunter station. Maybe a few at Park and Ride. Maybe some at the Santa Clara, and depending on how many people really want to participate. There's also that big field in front of the transit mix. And what we would do is we'd line up the floats right along the highway, basically, but not on the highway. And people could drive by with their families, not stopping, not exiting their cars, and view the floats. So what we're asking for is co-sponsorship with the city of Espanola, so we could work together to do the traffic and, of course, the police department. And if there is any lodger's tax available for advertising, that would also be great if we were allowed to apply for it. So that is what we're requesting. And I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on
Motion to approve,
this.
sir.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Go right ahead, Councilor Martinez.
I just want to say that I think being ingenious with sort of turning the parade inside out and having people be the ones on the move and the floats being the one stationary is pretty cool. We all need to make adjustments concerning this pandemic and concerning what is going on around us in our community. So I think that the ideas are really great, and I'm hopeful that this is the last time we have to do it like this, and we get back to the old way of doing things soon. But for now, I think this is an excellent idea. I want to thank Ms. Bustos and the rest of the Downtown Action team for all their efforts, especially in this situation with being ingenious with coming up with this idea to do it backwards this year. So good job, and we look forward to doing anything we can with you. Could we also have the CM look into the fact, see if there's any lodger's tax available for them?
I think so. I think
Um,
that's something we need to look at, especially for this event. Councilor Mayor Pro Tem Salazar.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to thank Christine Bustos and the Downtown Action Team for your many years of service for, keeping this Christmas light parade alive. And again, also the way you're, planning it for this year. I think it's going to be a great thing. The pride of the Espanola Valley, the pride of New Mexico. Keep up the great work, and I'm in full support of this. Thank you.
Councilor Didi Valdez.
What an innovative idea. Good work. The parade in Espanola is one of the best that I've seen. I've seen some in different cities, even a light boat parade in San Antonio, Texas. And I tell you, this is one of the best ones, if not the best. Good job.
Thank you, Councilor Valdez. Ms. Bustos, what can we say? Wow, thank you for continuing this. And, especially at a summer that every event got canceled this year, it's nice to look that there's some light at the end of this tunnel, this awful tunnel that we're in, especially come Christmas time. These kids and these adults alike are going to be needing this to see these beautiful floats. And I just hope you get just the same amount of participation from the businesses. I know it's going to be hard on them, especially with the way this COVID has affected all the businesses, but I really encourage them. I think this is something that we all need. We need as a community to lift us up. And I thank you so much for continuing this and finding a way to get it done. Ms. Bustos, thank you so much for all your hard work. Then please thank Date for us. And yes, Counselor, I think we do need to get with the CM and see what monies are available to help you guys out, to advertise this and to let the community know that the COVID is not going to prevent Christmas from coming this year. Sorry, it's not going to do that. And it's not going to stop the greatest parade that New Mexico has for Christmas. So thank you, Ms. Bustos.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. And also I have been talking to Gabriella at the Regional Arts Center and anyone else. I mean, we're still willing to figure out ways so that other people can participate. As I was telling Gabriella, we can't, of course, have crowds gather, but there's nothing to say, and I was talking to Peggy Suazo, she's not going to probably be able to have her gift giveaway, but there's nothing to say that when people are passing by at one point, maybe they can drive up and you can hand them a toy through their window, or something, or food or something. So we're open to suggestions, and we want to make this a great event. In other times, our 25th anniversary, we would have a lot different events, but as Manny, as Councilor Martinez says, we're not going to let this stop our Christmas in our community. So thank you, everyone, again.
Thank you again, Ms. Bustos. All right, we'd like to continue moving down to the department reports. Can we have a community services overview?
Mr. Chair, if I may, can we go back? I think we may need to still vote on it, if I'm correct.
Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. I think we agreed like that without voting. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
I guess I just got excited that we're just automatic, but I know we had to do the formality. Okay, we have a first and a second. Can I have a roll call vote, please? Ms.
Councilor
Dora,
Dennis Tiem Salazar,
For the motion.
Councilor Dorothy Valdez,
In favor.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor.
all right, motion passes. Let's see this on the next agenda for the city council so we can move this forward. Thank you again, Ms. Bustos.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. All right, let's move on to department reports. The Community Services Department overview. Overview of the Community Services Department, Ms. Dora Terrazas and Mr. Scott Frost.
Mr. Chair, members of the council, I'd like to introduce Mr. Scott Frost, our new Community Service Director. He is going to take the floor and introduce us to the items that are for the Community Service Department.
Good evening, everyone. It's a real pleasure to finally introduce myself to you as a committee. I'm very pleased to be here. Hopefully you can see on your screen the progress that's being made on the mural of Mr. Rodolfo Anaya. Can everyone see that?
I can.
Yes.
Yes.
Have to tell you, it was a real pleasure for me when I hired on to find out that we were in the middle of doing this. Mr. Anaya has been a sort of a hero of mine ever since my youth, and it's really going to be a blessing and a real prize for the city to have that posted. And it's coming out just beautiful. The young lady who's carrying out the work, I want to commend her. I doubt she's listening in, but somehow, hopefully this gets back to her. She's doing a great job, and she's also taking nice care of our building while she's doing it. So excellent work on her part. One other thing before I get into the overview that was handed to me by Mr. Sargent about the Parks Department, I just have to take a moment to thank Dora. She has been fantastic in helping me get my feet underneath me, and really a great big shout out to her. She's done an excellent job. So thank you very much, Dora, for that. The Parks report, as you probably have before you, we've got a number of things. We've been completing some work orders. We had a bunch of glass block that was vandalized at the Ranchitos pool, and the general services staff has done a good job of getting those things patched back up. I spoke with Mr. Sargent about it, and we both agreed that for the duration, because the pool is basically going to be closed now until next season, it might behoove us to install something that's break proof in the place of the glass that we're purchasing, and not put that actual glass in until next season when we open up again. So that's going to be a little deviation from what you see before you. We'll blanket out with probably small steel plates or something painted and make it look as acceptable as possible. But it just seems futile to replace glass with more glass that's going to be broken under the circumstances. Not to be negative, but just being realistic. The Valdez Park, it's moving forward. We're waiting on approval of capital money. This is an item that definitely predates me, but everything I've heard about it is it's 2 thumbs up. We're just in the process of getting our funding in place so that we can move forward with that. And it's really going to be a nice thing when all the hoped for remodel of the park that we're talking about doing now actually gets accomplished. So that'll be good. We also do have another big project coming up in the Ranchitos Park, and that one, as mentioned in the report, is waiting on the DFA, but that too is going to be a real boon to our city parks once we get that in place. I walked through it with Mr. Martinez, Javier, and Jeff Sargent, and they showed me what the plans are, and I couldn't be more in favor. That's going to be very awesome. Other than that, we are working on maintaining the parks. One thing I wanted to mention, and I didn't get on this report, but it's not very often, in fact, never, that we have this opportunity with a shutdown that's forced upon us. And one of my goals for this fall is to do as much restoration and work on for example, the green turf that we have at the plaza and at the different parks. Do as much remodeling and repair as is possible within our funding, taking advantage of the fact that the public isn't in those buildings and using them. And so hopefully you'll get to see the parks crew and myself out there. We're going to be doing a process called top dressing the lawn, definitely at the plaza, which basically involves scattering seed and about an inch or so of topsoil on top of the existing grass and then watering it. And that'll be a really good thing for that lawn there. And the fact that there won't be anybody using it for the rest of the fall season and through the winter till next spring, we're hoping for a really lush, green, tough lawn ready for next year. And next year, we're not going to have any COVID-19 restrictions and we'll be using it to the full. But that's our plan right now, is take advantage of the circumstance that we find ourselves in and utilize it to the full. So that's all I have. If there's any questions.
Any questions, councilors?
I would like the floor, please.
Go right ahead, Councilor Martinez.
Thank you, Chair. I want to first and foremost welcome you, sir, to serving the constituency of the city of Espanola. We look forward to your service and to whatever you bring positively to the Community Services Department. I also, like you, would like to thank Ms. Terrazas for holding the reins for the Community Services Department throughout this time as the interim. She didn't miss a beat, and it was a very challenging time because of the COVID situation, especially dealing with the senior center and all that entailed with the mills and everything else going out. So we certainly appreciate Ms. Terrazas and everything that she's been able to accomplish in the Community Services Department. And we look forward to her continuing to work well with you and hopefully creating a good partnership that behooves the city of Espanola. On the other side of that, I've had some constituency reach out to me recently about some homeless people or people who are squatting in the convento area and in the area where the fountain is. I have a few constituents that take their grandkids out to ride their bikes there every evening, and they've sent me pictures of different homeless people in the gazebo and in the other area, like I said, behind that fountain, but that are just making that their place. And I have a lot of concern that that beautiful, beautiful building and that beautiful, beautiful area is going to get encumbered by that type of activity. And I'm just really, really concerned about that. So could you touch base a little bit on some ideas that you might have to remediate that problem?
Yes, ma'am, and thank you. I appreciate you bringing that out. It's a concern of mine as well. Again, I'm very new to the position, but because we had so many absentee employees my first couple of weeks, I was working with Parks Foreman Ben Martinez, and I told him, hey, you know what, I can't be all over with you, but I can be at the plaza. And so I've sort of taken that under my wing to as much as my schedule has allowed. And I've gone over there a number of mornings in a row. And yes, I couldn't agree with you more. There is definitely a problem. One of the first things that a person has to do when we arrive there is go through and make sure that there's not unsafe items such as needles discarded, et cetera, et cetera. It definitely is a matter of great concern for me. Ideas that I have, I've dealt with this problem in other places. One specifically that comes to mind, ma'am, is my time on Kodiak Island in Alaska. The homeless population there was equal to or greater than what we have here for different reasons. People would get off the boat and then not have money to get back on the boat, and they'd be stuck and they would be homeless. And the weather was atrocious. And so every place that had an eave, every public building, any place that was close to dry and warm had a homeless person in it, is what it seemed like. And it's a real challenge because they're human beings, and we want to show compassion. We want to treat them with respect and dignity and provide any help that we can. But at the same time, as you mentioned, we can't allow them to pose a risk to public safety. We can't allow them to possibly put young children who don't know any better in harm. So it's a real struggle. Thank you for bringing that out. Some of the things that we did is we were very proactive about removing items that they left behind. They stake a territory by leaving a sleeping bag or what have you behind, and then they come back the following evening. And there's a zero tolerance for that. But because, again, you know, the need to treat them as human beings, what we had was sort of a pickup station where they knew if the item seemed to have value, we had a place where they could go pick it back up, but they got the idea that they weren't, it wasn't okay for them to stake a claim on the spot that they had claimed. Perhaps something like that might be appropriate here. That's one idea. Working closely with law enforcement, and law enforcement can't be everywhere. And obviously, if they have a life or death situation, a homeless person is low down on the list of priorities. Possibly, we can identify these areas and even patrol them ourselves as possible. I don't know. I don't have a solid, clear-cut answer for you, but I'm very aware of what you're saying, and I will make it a priority to try and come up with a plan to help and alleviate and at the same time afford these individuals their dignity.
One of the issues is, thank you, Chair. Do we know if Pathway House has opened completely or they're still not open? Does anybody know the answer to that?
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, this is Javier Martinez. I believe that they're operational. I think they were having some issues in regards to getting water for their fire retardant system there, but I can reach out to them as well and put Mr. Frost in contact with them to see about facilitating and coordinating with them to maybe help them get, if they're displaced, to find out more information from the Pathway Shelter.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. Thank you, CM.
Anything else, Councilor Martinez?
No, Chairman Manny, nothing at this time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. How about you, Councilor Valdez?
I just want to reiterate what Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez had said. Welcome, Mr. Frost. And Miss Dora Terrazas, you did an amazing job. And I just want to thank you for your dedication during the time that you served. And welcome aboard, Mr. Scott.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Councilor Dennis Salazar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have nothing at this time, but I'd just like to welcome Mr. Frost as well. Also like to thank Dora Terrazas for stepping up, as well as the entire Community Services Department. I think you all did a wonderful job. Without a permanent director, as far as, you know, Dora stepping in as the interim director, y'all did a great job. And, you know, we look forward to Mr. Frost coming on board and us continuing to move forward. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And again, I would like to echo my fellow councilors. Welcome aboard, Mr. Frost. And again, thank you, Dora, for all that you've done. You've done a heck of a job, and we look forward to you continuing to do the best work that you do there at the Beatrice Memorial or Center. So we thank you. And I think those are great ideas that you have, Mr. Frost, to help with this situation that Councilor Martinez has brought forward as far as what's going on there at the plaza. And I'm sure it might be also going on in some of the parks as well. Perhaps what we might be able to look at, we can check with City Manager Martinez, is if it would be possible maybe to utilize some of the property that the city has up on Industrial Park for some of these people that aren't able to get into the Pathway Shelter as fast as that we would like them to maybe able to utilize some of that property. I know that there's a couple of vacant lots up on Industrial Park that the city has, and maybe this might be a temporary solution, a little band-aid to the problem, at least until the Pathway Shelter is completely up and running. So I don't know if City Manager Martinez, is that something that we can look at doing? I know that we do have some of that property up there. What are your thoughts, sir?
Mr. Chair, this is Javier Martinez. It doesn't hurt to look into it. I could definitely look into with legal as to how we would provide that. I know that there was issues where the Pathways Shelter had provided kind of like a tent city right outside of their facility, and that we got a little bit of flack on that one as well. But, you know, like I say, just, and you're right, there is that vacant property up in that area where there is water available. The only thing is just kind of maintaining these individuals' social distancing and make sure that they're not a threat to themselves and following the governor's orders. That's the main thing that we have to look at.
Okay, thank you, sir. And again, Mr. Frost, welcome. We welcome you to, I know back home because I know you're from here. So welcome back, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And if we'll go ahead and continue, and we'll move on with the Espanola Library.
Good evening, everyone. As you can see there on the report, August, again, we're doing the curbside service for library books, materials, DVDs, and audiobooks. We're also doing grab and go crafts for both children and adults for the entire month. And we also received a $2,000 grant from the American Library Association to help with the census. So we're going to try and help do some people fill out the census as they come in here to the library. And as you can see there, the staff has put together probably about 22 different crafts and projects that they're working on that they've done for this month. And then they're also working on different projects for next month also. And as you can see there for the July statistics, our numbers have, are still low, but, we're slowly bringing them back up. And there's not very many people, coming in right now just because of the hours that we have and how we're open, but we still get, quite a few people in here. Total circulations is 895, and we've had over 1,000 people come in so far. Again, also you can see there that how our revenue has changed. And that's, again, we're not doing the interlibrary loan because that requires us to go out and have books passed to us from another library. So we're actually not doing that. And then our rental fees, of course, we're not renting out the mayor's conference room right now. So, I mean, it's, the numbers are low, but we're still here. We're still working. We're still checking out books. We're still providing programs. And there are still people that are coming into the library, and they, they work on the computers. They check books out. So we're still doing a lot of activities for them. And I think that's about it right now. Any questions?
Any questions, counselors?
I have a question.
Yes.
This is
Go right
Counselor
ahead.
Valdez.
Go right ahead, Counselor Valdez.
So for Wi-Fi users, how does that work? They take their own computer and they sit in the library, or what do you mean by Wi-Fi users?
Yes. How many people come into the library and, like you said, they have their own laptops and they use the computer here in the library, and they can actually, work on their computer here in the library because we have a Wi-Fi connection, so they can do that. And during the times that we were closed, we still had our Wi-Fi on, so people were still able to, park outside during our hours that we were open. And they could still use the Wi-Fi outside in their cars or just sit outside in the little area where the benches are.
Okay, the Espanola Public Schools has passed out different devices to every student. Not every student has Wi-Fi. So maybe we can put out the word that even if they sit in the parking lot, they can use the Wi-Fi. Do they need a username and password, or how would that work?
No, yes, they can come over and, use the Wi-Fi from outside. You do not need a user password or anything. You just log on and it comes out to city guest. And once they log on, then they just need to activate the little, that they, read the disclaimer and everything, then agree with it, and then it comes on right after that. But yes, that would be a really good idea of having some of those students come over and, if their parents want to bring them, have them sit outside and use the Wi-Fi.
And can they go inside to use the Wi-Fi, or not at this time due to COVID?
Yes, they can, but we're limiting the sessions to half an hour, just so there's, not so many people gathered in here. So
Yes.
if you come in, use it only for half an hour, but then, you have to go after half an hour, but that's just kind of, because of, then people start gathering at that point.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councilor Martinez.
Thank you, Chairman Martinez. Yes, I just wanted to follow through on Councilor Valdez's concern with the Wi-Fi. I'll yield to the CM Martinez just to ask him if there's also available Wi-Fi at the Convento area.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez. So right now the Wi-Fi that's available is through NIMRAC. They're the ones that have their Wi-Fi. The Mission itself has Wi-Fi as requested only, primarily because that building is Adobe, and so we have a Wi-Fi connection within the facility of the Mission itself, and that's for a request only. So that was requested by when there were vendors or artists that wanted to sell their art, and they had credit cards for payments. So that's when we installed that. But right now at the Convento, it's through NIMRAC that has the Wi-Fi there.
We had spoke prior to this meeting and prior to the last meeting. We talked about creating some hotspots within the city of Espanola to make sure that those students that are without a Wi-Fi connection in their home have different places and different sources to connect to. I know that there is a federal grant right now for schools to get the Wi-Fi up and running in the area of the school itself. And I'm wondering if it's feasible that the city would also qualify for those grants to provide Wi-Fi to students that don't have Wi-Fi in their home, and creating the connectivity that they so much need to get their curriculum done.
Right. Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. So with the CARES Act that we submitted an application for that was due, I believe on August 7th, we collaborated with Santa Fe County and Rio Arriba County, and that was one of the items there to collaborate with ReadyNet and to see about putting hotspots throughout the city for about 60 homes in that area as well. So this is through the CARES Act that we should be hearing back from within, I'm gonna say within 2 weeks. That was the response that we got when we submitted the application, that we would hear a quick response, because this was money that was pretty much burning a hole in their pocket and they wanted to get rid of. So we submitted the application and we got it in on time. So we're just waiting to hear back on that.
Okay, well, let's all hope and pray that that comes through, because it would be horrible if a student was not able to stay with their group or be able to function at homeschool because they didn't have the same opportunities that other kids have. So I myself want to make sure that we try and do as much as we can with that. So please keep us in the loop as to what's going on with that, Mr. Martinez. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Martinez, this is Gabriela.
Yes, go ahead, Gabriela.
I just wanted to comment on Mr. Javier Martinez's comment on us having the Wi-Fi. We have issues with that, so I'm going to try to go ahead and see if we can get it over there in the education side, because I thought that what I had understood is that Ishmael was putting the open Wi-Fi and they had it and they just added it over into the Mission. So I didn't know if that was open Wi-Fi or I'm not really sure how that was working on that. So I'll have to look into that, Mr. Martinez, both Martinez, Javier Martinez and Manny Martinez, because I know inside the Convento, as Mr. Javier Martinez said, we have issues with that. So it's really hard for people to get internet. And I think Ishmael was working on that. And I'm going to try to look into that as well, because I have no internet actually in the education center. So that's something that I know we need to try to get and make sure that if people are out there, you know, they can get internet. But I think, as I mentioned to Peggy Sue Martinez, I think Peggy Sue, I don't know, we had, I had mentioned something about maybe we could shut it off at a certain time, because I think that was bringing people that are still hanging out there after hours. So we do have that happening right now where people are there. I'm not sure what you guys would want us to do. I mean, I thought the parks close at 10, so I'm not really sure how you guys want to deal with that. So anyways, that was just a comment I want to add to that as well and see. if we
I
can-
myself would not mind if that signal got taken down at 8:30 or 9 p.m. My main concern is that if we do open up a hotspot area, that it be utilized primarily by students. Of course, other people are going to utilize it. There's no issue with that. But I don't think having it 24/7 is healthy, being that we want to try and eliminate the traffic, especially in that area at night.
Right, right. And that's what, and that's exactly right, because I think some of the people that I've seen, there is no kids actually there, and they're not really even trying to do homework. It's more older people that are actually hanging out in their vehicles all day. So that just, I was just wondering about that. If we could, kind of address that at some other time, that would be fine. Thank you.
Councilor Dennis Tim, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I do think it is important, if we can, as a city, help these young kids that unfortunately are faced with this issue of having to look for Wi-Fi to be able to go to school this year. And not even just the younger children, but also college students are having to do their classes online. And unfortunately, not everybody is able to have Wi-Fi and or internet access at their home. So I think it is very important that we as a city, that we can help as much as we can. I do think the idea of having Wi-Fi from a specific time in the morning to an evening, let's say, like you said, the parks close at 10, well, then that's when the Wi-Fi could end as well. I think if we can extend it like that at the plaza, I think in the long run, it'll be actually helpful, especially for the vendors. When things go back to normal, they'll be able to utilize it more so. But I think right now we do need to concentrate and see what we can do to assist these students as much as we can as possible, as Councilor Martinez said. So we don't want any kids to fall behind simply because they don't have access to internet. And that shouldn't be a reason for a child to be left behind like that. So I do encourage as much as we can to see how we can extend it, whether it's at the library, at the plaza, or perhaps even at the parking lot in Beatrice Memorial, the senior center. If these are areas that I think that kids and parents could park, do their class studies as needed, especially during this time. And again, in their vehicles, they would be able to maintain that social distancing, of course. So thank you. I hope this is something we can look at.
Mr. Chair, I just want to add one more thing. Windstream has worked together with the Espanola Public Schools and is offering a $39.99 a month package with no installation fee for students and teachers, just to get that out there.
That's great. That's great information. I know that's information I didn't know. If possible, if we have a coffee break coming up, I would really hope that whoever goes on coffee break, please mention that. So in case there's anybody out there that might be needing Wi-Fi, that they can contact Windstream. And thank you very much for that information, Councilor Valdez. And let's go ahead and move on.
Chairman Martinez, does Councilor Valdez know if there's a specific code or a mentioning of that special price, or how does somebody go about getting that deal?
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez, I don't have a code, or I haven't heard of a code. I think you just go and tell Windstream that you are a student or a teacher that works with the Espanola Public Schools, and they will give you that great reduction rate. Thank you.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you.
That's great to see these companies coming together to help at this particular time. Thank you, Councilor Valdez, again for that information.
Mr. Chair.
Let's go ahead and move forward. And yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, you might want to double check on those prices and those packages from Windstream. I've had a couple of parents that have heard that they were going to give them a discount, but apparently Windstream staff has told them that the schools misprinted the prices on those packages.
Okay, thank you. Well, we'll see if we can look into it and see what the correct price is before we mention it any further as far as through coffee break or anywhere else. But thank you, Dora, for that.
And one more
let's
thing,
go
Ms.
ahead and-
Martinez. I'm sorry, I just want to add one more thing to this. This is Gabriela. I do have a student that's at Northern, and some of the students that have no internet, Northern is providing them with a laptop and a hotspot. So Northern's doing that for some of their students that have no access to internet. So maybe we could kind of look into that, where they can maybe, Richard Bailey and then maybe could help our students in our community to maybe get some hotspots for them as well, because I think it's a challenge this year for everyone. So that would be nice, just so you know that. I was very excited when I heard that one of my college students actually got that. So I think they're providing that for people in areas that have no Wi-Fi at all. So they just have like a hotspot. So that's always nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriela. Anything else, Ms.
Sure.
Sherry?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for all you do.
You're welcome.
The Lucero Center Recreation Facility reports and updates for recreation. Do we have Miss Maria Sandoval?
Good evening. Yes, Mr. Chair. I'm not going to say that it's business as usual because it's COVID time. But definitely the revenue, if you notice, is definitely a huge change. Can't say enough in regards to the number of members and or patrons that visit us. Most of them obviously do not like the idea of wearing a mask while working out, and it's definitely a trying time to enforce it. They don't like us, coming behind them and letting them know that they have to wear it. But it is what it is at this point, and so most of them are okay with it, and some of them are not, and therefore, either they come back or they don't. So essentially, it is very trying, to say the least. As we know, activities are not going on because of large gatherings, and of course, people ask, when and how soon can they do it and things like that. I know that for the most part, we've had a few gatherings as far as softball over at Ranchitos, and of course down here at Valdez Park at the skate park. We're definitely trying to have ideas as to getting them to be out there, but at least with a mask on, and they're not following the rules. But every once in a while you see somebody doing that as far as wearing a mask. The pool itself, we are operating Monday through Friday under 1 hour of pool time, and it is lap swim. Most of them are very, I want to say, graciously thankful that at least we're doing it for 1 hour, and it's only for 6 people during that time. So it is kind of managing very, very well at this time. We do have 2 lifeguards, incredibly great lifeguards, to say the least. Both of them are pretty young, 19 and 18, but they are very well, as far as older, beyond their years, to say, as far as taking care of what they need to take care of. Especially I'm thankful for Andrew Padilla, He happens to be what is her name? Miss Angela Fresca's son, who he basically does the most of the items that are needed here as far as balancing the chemicals, bringing in his knowledge as far as all that because of his mom, and of course himself. Let's not take anything away from him about that. So I'm really thankful for that. Clearly, whenever one of them is missing, I have to shut down the pool because of the state department's meeting that we need to have two on site. Other than that, we are definitely currently having an open position for the aquatics coordinator. And I don't, right now, no one has come up with that or stepped up in order to have an interest. We did have an interest, but it fell through. As far as plans, there are still plans for movie nights, Friday nights in October. Crossing fingers, we'll see how that goes, or we may have different ideas as to how to proceed with that. I do thank you so much for the ongoing for the mini Olympics. I'm already drawing up the letters for everyone to be on board, not necessarily just the city of Española, but the communities around us. The summer camp program for 2021, I'm still awaiting response of whether or not we did get the grant. Hopefully we can. Other than that, crossing fingers for hopeful some either softball or volleyball tournaments come October, November. If not, there's always next year. And that is it for me. Any questions?
Thank you. Councilor Martinez.
Thank you, Chairman Martinez. Thank you, Maria. I want to thank you and appreciate you and your staff for holding the fort down there at the Lucero Center. I know it's a little bit more intense as far as cleanliness and stuff because of the nature of people perspiring and things like that in the gym. And I know you guys are right behind those people cleaning up everything, and we certainly appreciate that. You know, the beauty of being down like this is that it does allow us as a community to plan some really awesome events for next year. One of the things that I know that's been getting a lot of popularity recently is cornhole throwing and the game. I have a lot of people that have made their own and that are doing it at home with family and stuff. And seems to be something that people are really enjoying. So down the road, I'd like to see us possibly do a tournament here in Española if things get better and things improve and we can be out and together as a community. I think that would be something really fun to have. In the meantime, you know, just keep doing what you're doing and stay positive and keep your staff as safe as possible.
Thank you so much, Councilor Martinez.
Councilor Valdez.
I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mayor Pro Tem Salazar.
Nothing at this time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Maria, for everything. And again, like Councilor Martinez said, please stay safe, you and your staff. And thank you for all that you're doing to making sure that that we continue things going on at Lucero Center, even though this is a difficult time to be having any type of recreational activity. But thank you so much for all that you guys are doing. Please stay safe. We'd like to continue. You're welcome. We'd like to continue with the Beatriz Martinez Senior Center reports updates of the Senior Center with Ms. Dora Terrazas. Ms. Dora Terrazas, do you have anything for the Beatriz Martinez Senior Center?
Mr. Chair, members of the council, thank you. We are now picking up our revenue. We were down a little bit for about 3 weeks. We had a little bit of an issue with the grease trap that has now been fixed, and we actually did over $200 today. So it's coming back up, and we are getting our patrons back to the senior center. So with that, I want to let you guys know to put the word out there and let the people know that we don't just feed the seniors, we feed the whole community. So invite them over. Our lunches are 11:45 to 1 o'clock, Monday through Thursday. We also have breakfast burritos Mondays and Fridays, 8:30 to 10 o'clock. So put the word out there for us.
Can you give us a price, Mr. Rosas, on a senior and a non-senior meal?
Yes, our senior prices 55 and over are $350 and $650 for non-seniors.
Thank you very much. Councilor Martinez, can I have the floor?
Go right ahead, Counselor.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say that I've had numerous people reach out to me and tell me that they're picking up food regularly and they appreciate the value and what they're getting. So thank you so much, and thank the cooks and let them know that people are very happy.
Thank you. The spaghetti and the tegua tacos are pretty good sellers. So maybe we'll start putting those more often on the menus as well.
All right, thank you. Those are heck of some prices, I can tell you. Although 55 seems a little young to be considered a senior, wouldn't you say, Councilor Martinez?
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Councilor Valdez.
I was thinking the same as you, Chair Martinez. I am considered a senior, but I am proud of it. Hopefully one of these days I can go get one of those tegua tacos that you're talking about. Thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem, Dennis.
Mr. Chair, nothing at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, thank you so much, Dora. Thank you. And thank you for continuing to send us the monthly menu that you have. But I mean, I can't believe those prices. Wow. I would like to see more people in the city taking advantage of that, because that is a heck of a good price, especially at this time that money is short, but yet they can go get a fantastic meal at such a reasonable price. So thank you so much for all you guys are doing over there at the Senior Center, Ms. Dora.
Thank you. And I want to say thank you to all your counselors for appreciating me as the interim Community Service Director. And I want to say that I'm here to give Mr. Frost the right hand on whatever he needs and help with. And I'm here for anything that you guys need.
Thank you, Ms. Terrazas.
Thank you, Ms. Terrazas. And again, we're here for you as well. So anything that you need or Mr. Frost may need, or anybody as far as Ms. Sherry and of course, Maria, if you guys need anything from us, please let us know. That's what we're here for, to assist as well. So thank you so much. And again, welcome aboard. Mr. Frost, welcome aboard.
Thank you. I appreciate that, sir.
And I believe our next meeting is for September 21st, 2020. Is that okay with everybody?
That works.
Okay, sounds good. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, then you guys have a great rest of your evening.
You too.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Again, thank you, Ms. Dora.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gabriela.
Thank you, Manny. It's always nice talking to you and seeing you guys. Have a great day, evening already.